Hello, everyone. Good evening. Good evening, Chris. Yeah, Alvin, Helmi, James. Hello, Nurul. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. So 2 more minutes, we will start. Thank you for joining early. So hope you all had a good dinner already. Hello, TK. Hello, Zi. So there are some more people that are coming in. So we start in about 1 to 2 minutes. So while waiting, perhaps you can type where you're from. So I'm from Malaysia. So I think some of you are also from Malaysia or other countries. All right, so we have Chris from PJ Malaysia, TK from Singapore, James also from Singapore. Right, we're Siu Ming from Seremban, and there's someone from Sarawak. Right, Alvin also from Singapore. Oh, sorry, from Malaysia. Yeah, Helmi from Malaysia. Hi, Tak Yuan. All right, so it's 8 p.m. All right, welcome once again to this webinar. Hello, everyone. I'm Christine. So yeah, thank you for sharing where you're from. Yeah, so I'm from Malaysia. So we have Nurul from Kelantan, Malaysia. Yes, Tak Yuan from Malaysia as well. Thank you so much for responding. Thank you so much for joining me this Tuesday evening to learn about programming. So there's a bit of a time lag between the time that I'm speaking versus the time that I'm interacting, that you're interacting with me. But please do not let this stop us from interacting together. So I will pause to read your comments, right? So yeah, please pardon me if I miss your comments or your questions. So let me share my screen now. So let me go to full screen. All right, so hope you all can see my slides clearly. So I'm going to get started immediately as I really treasure your time a lot. So my topic for this webinar is Learn Fundamentals of Python Computer Programming to Code an App. So I'm going to start by asking this question. So I hope that everyone will participate and answer me. So many thanks again for your response in advance. So yeah, from the scale of 0 to 10, how familiar are you with programming? All right. So it is okay if your score is low. So I hope that your score will increase after this webinar. So for those with a higher score, yeah, maybe you are new to Python programming. So you are here to learn as well. So welcome everyone to this webinar. I'm very happy to share my knowledge with all of you. So I see the scores coming in. So I have 3, 6, 0, 7. Yeah, thank you for all the responses. So I hope that at the end of this webinar, your score will change. So hopefully it's not lower, but higher. Okay, who am I? So I've been teaching programming for the past 26 years in a university college. So my programming journey started in 1990 when I enrolled into a Bachelor of Science degree program. So I remember the excitement that I felt each time I managed to solve a programming problem. So it did feel kind of magical, and that I have this superpower to create. So my passion is in teaching programming, so that through these life skills, right, people can create a better world. So currently, I'm an adjunct associate professor. I'm also a tech advisor overseeing design and development of an educational platform. So I'm also a professional certified trainer. So my goal this evening, is to teach you some fundamentals of Python programming. So I'll share with you my STEPS systems to learn programming fast. And finally, I'd like to inspire you to take action. So let's start from the basic. What is a computer program or what is a computer code? So it's actually a language, all right? It's a language that the computer can understand. So basically, a computer program, right, is a set of instructions, right, that tells the computer what to do. So like a language, it has its own syntax, it has its own rules. Just like when you learn English, you need to learn about the grammar, you need to learn the spelling as well. So let's say you want the computer to print something. So you will write the code to display a message on the screen. So that's what we are going to do as well later on. So this evening, I want to introduce a programming language called Python. So Guido van Rossum is a Dutch programmer. So he is the creator of this general purpose programming language. So he started working on this in 1989 and is now among the most popular programming languages in the world. So he released the first version in 1991, which is about 30 years ago. The name Python, right, is not named after the snake, okay, but it is actually named after Guido's favorite comedy TV show called the Monty Python's Flying Circus, okay. So Python is simple to use and yet powerful. So you can use it to create web applications, do cool stuff like artificial intelligence and machine learning. So these are actually related to robotics. And you can also use Python to analyze a huge amount of data like sales or transactions to see which of this product performs better. And this is actually part of data science. And in data visualization, Python allows you to create a graph and charts. And using graph and charts, we can actually identify patterns or trends in our data. And yes, Python is also used for image processing to do face recognition and also in game development. So why are we learning Python? So Python is chosen because it is one of the most popular programming languages in the world. So many big names use Python for their products or services. Some of these are NASA, Google, Netflix, YouTube, and Amazon. So that's why Python developers are in demand. And this is why I want to teach the fundamentals of programming using Python. So let me share with you the application of the program that we are going to create. So I was reading this article by Tim Urban in Wait But Why. So I realized that life is really precious, okay, and even more precious than diamonds. So in his article, he actually visualized our life in weeks. So it is very interesting, especially when you see a whole life from age 0 to 90 can be mapped out in weeks, like this image here. So every week, right, is actually represented by a small checkbox, and you can see each of these checkboxes. So this is like how many weeks I have in my whole life if I were to live until 90 years old. So later on, I'm going to share with you how this article made an impact in my life. So we're going to write a program to read a current age, and it will tell us how many days, weeks, and months we have if we are to live until 90 years old. So the code, right, is going to ask you for your current age. So is there something wrong with the sound? Can you still hear me? Are you able to hear me? Okay, let me check again. All right, I will turn off my audio and turn on again. All right, can you hear me now? Let me go back to my slides. Okay. All right, that's good. All right, sorry for the technical error just now. Okay, so I was just sharing about the output from this program. Okay, so we're going to write a program that reads a current age, right, and tell us how many days, weeks, and months left if we are to live until 90 years old. So the code is going to ask you for your current age. Okay, so let's say I'm 30. Yeah, obviously I'm not. Okay, so if you think I'm 30 years old, you can type 30 on the chat box. So then it's going to calculate how many days, weeks, and months I have left if I were to live until 90 years old. So finally, the computer will print out this message. Okay. So before I demonstrate how to create this app, right? So I really want to add value to this webinar. So I want to teach you some basic concepts of the Python programming language that we are going to apply in creating that program. Okay, in creating that simple app. So we are going to learn 4 Python programming concepts: the output, input, data types, and also operations. So let's start off with output. So print, right, is a function in Python to print a message on the screen. So let's look at the syntax. So print, right, is actually the keyword or the function in Python to display the message. And we need to use the open bracket and also the close bracket. So remember, I said that syntax, right, refers to the rules of that programming language. So whatever message that we want to print out is within the double quotes. Okay, so you must have a starting double quote as well as the ending double quote. So now to type this program, right, we need an editor. And we use Microsoft Word to create our documents, to type our documents. And so similarly, you need to use an editor to actually type your program. So I always want to make it simple for my students so that you don't need to install any software. So you just need to use your browser and of course internet connection to write and then run your program. So the editor that we are going to use is called Trinket. So this is the link here, trinket.io/Python3. All right, you don't have to type the program now, okay? So this webinar is recorded. So after the webinar, I will send the link to access the recording. So then you can rewatch the video, all right, and then try out. So do follow my demonstration first. So then yeah, you can just copy down the link for now, all right? So when you start up the trinket.io/Python tree, so this is the interface. So main.py here, right, is the area where you type your program. So all Python program, right, has this extension .py. And after typing your program, you will click on this play button, okay, and then you will see your output on this side, okay. So this is the area to view your result. So I'm going to show you the first program that every programmer will write, okay, which is the Hello World program. So just now we have seen the syntax, okay. So print is a keyword, and it must be all in lower cases, and you must start at the first column, right? And remember to use the open bracket, close bracket, and also the double quotes. So when I run the program, so the output is Hello World. So, you know, when I first learned this, right, I was saying, wow, you know, it's just like so easy, okay? Because if you were to compare to other programming languages that you may have heard of, like C++, Java, and C, right? There are many more lines than this, okay? So Python is just so simple. You just need one line, this print function, to print this Hello World. Even though it's a very simple program, yet it's actually quite powerful because we use this to actually show that the editor is working, all right? The syntax or the rules are actually correct, okay, according to the Python rules. All right, so now we have covered the print function. So I'll like you to type print on the chat box, okay, P-R-I-N-T, print. So this is our first function. So we have learned how to actually do the output, that means print out a message on the screen. So next is input. Okay, so meaning how we can actually read something from the keyboard. So I don't want my program just to print out messages. I want to interact with my program. Okay, so what I want is that I want to actually type my name. Okay, so the program will ask for my name. So the letters in blue is actually what I enter from the keyboard. And then the program will actually say, hello, Christine. So of course, if you try this program, you enter your name, then the program will say, hello, followed by your name. Let's say, hello, Helmi, or hello, James. Okay, so this is actually the code, all right? So now you have a new function called input, okay? So I want you to type input on the chat box. So input is the function to read data from the keyboard. Okay, so again, I will explain to you the rules or the syntax. So you can see it's very similar to the print function. So this is the message or the prompt for the user, okay? Then the input function. So because whatever you enter, right, you want to store it somewhere, okay? So in programming, we call this a variable, right? A data, which in this case is called name. So whatever I entered from the keyboard will be stored into this variable called name, okay? So you see that now I also use the print function to print out, but there's something different there, okay? So another new rule here or new syntax is called the F string, all right? So I print out the word hello, and the data that I want to print out, right, is actually placed into curly braces, right? Open and close curly braces. So this name, right, is whatever that I entered from the keyboard. So if I enter Christine, right, when I run it, so then it will display hello followed by my name. Okay, so this is how you read data from the keyboard. So again, let me show you the syntax, all right? So the name is known as a variable or a data. So we're going to talk more about this later on. And this is the prompt for the user, a message for the user. And we also call this a string of letters, okay? Or you can say a list of letters, right? So the bracket, the quotes are actually part of the syntax. So now we know how to write a message on the on the screen, and we have used also the input function to read data from the keyboard. So next, we want to learn about data types. All right, so a data type here, right, actually refers to the type of data or the format of the data that the program is going to handle. And we store this data into something called variable. So earlier on, we have seen a variable called name, right? And yeah, the value of this data can change, right? Because we have different names. So that's why it's called a variable. And these are the common data types that we have in Python. Integer, okay? So this refers to whole number. It can be positive numbers or integer numbers, okay? Here, like the examples here, the number 7, number 33, or the year. Another data type is float. So these are actually decimal points, right? That means, yeah, numbers with decimal points. For example, the value of pi, 3.142, the value of temperature. So I think, if we have this temperature, then we need to watch out, because of the current pandemic. Okay, and another type is the string, right? So string, right, refers to the list of letters. Okay, for example, my first name, so that is a string, okay? Or the country, right? So that is also known as a string. So by knowing the type of data, right, then we know what type of operations we can use on the data, okay? So like if let's say it's an integer, that means we can perform calculations with it, right? Integer and float, we can add them up, right? We can subtract and so on, okay? For strings, we can join the strings together. We can find out the length of the string, okay? Or we can also find out what are the vowels inside the string, right? For example, in my name, Christine, I have 3 vowels, I and E. And in the word Malaysia, there are actually 4 vowels there, okay? There are 3 A's and an I. So these are some of the operations, right, that we can use if we know the data type or the type of data. So back to this example that we have earlier on. So name, right, is actually a string variable, right? So it's a variable because the values can change, right? And then, yeah, you can type a different name, then you will say hello, right, followed by your name. Let's say TK, for example, or hello, Alvin. All right, so we have covered input, output, and data types. So the next one is to learn about operations. So as I mentioned, right, different data types, right, we use different operations. But tonight we're going to, or this evening, we're going to focus on the mathematical operations. So let me show you this example. Okay, so notice that I have this on the first line, right? There's this hash symbol followed by a program to add 2 numbers. Okay, this is a way to actually comment your code, right? So by commenting your code, right, it's a way to explain what your code is doing, right? So that, you can remember. Okay, sometimes, you may have written a lot of code and then you may not know why have you written it this way or the meaning of the code, okay? So it's good to actually use comments, right, to document it. Your program will not run them, okay? So that means you can type any comments, right, into it by using the hash symbol. And it's also a way to explain to others what your program is doing, okay? So this example here, we are adding 2 numbers together. Okay, so first of all, we use the input function, right, to read the first number, okay? And we store it into a variable called number1, right? And then after that, it will prompt the user to enter the second number and then store this number into a variable called number2. So remember that, as a programmer, right, we are writing instructions, okay, to tell the computer what to do. So I have not written the instructions to add the numbers yet, okay? So we will do that in line 4. So in line 4, what we have here is that, okay, I'm telling the program to add these 2 numbers, okay? Number1 and number2, and then store it into another variable called result, Okay, so again, I have not printed out the numbers yet, right? So I'm just adding it. That's why you don't see any output, right, when I run the program. Okay, so it has added the numbers, but there's no display yet, okay, because we don't have a print function, right? So that means what we need is a print function to display the result. All right. Okay, so let's print the result and then see what happens. Okay, I want you to also guess what the result should be. Okay, yeah, I think 3 plus 2, you don't need a calculator, right? So you can just type the result onto the chat box, right? You can do that. And then I will review the answer to you. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. All right, let's see the answer. Okay, you may be surprised, right, with the result, and then ask, how come the computer doesn't know how to calculate? Okay, so you see, this input function, right, is actually reading this number 1 as a character format, not an integer format, not like a digit. Okay, so that means it's actually reading it like an alphabet. Okay, so alphabet, of course, you don't add them up, but you actually join them up. Okay, so when I entered the numbers 3 and 4, the program joins them together. That's why you see the output 3, 4 on the screen, right, when I print the result. So the question is, how do we actually convert this to a digit format, or, an integer? Okay, so with integers, that means we can do mathematical calculations with it. All right, so let's look at the solution. Oops. Okay, we use a converter function called int, right, or int. So this is the syntax. So the int function, right, is actually used with the input function. So you see the input function will read something from the keyboard, right? And the int function, right, will convert it to an integer format so that we can do calculations with it. So we do the same thing for line 2 and line 3, right, using the int function, the int. So now that the computer knows that, oh, okay, this is an actual integer. It's not, it's not just a normal character, all right? So then it can add the numbers together. So now you can see that the correct result is in the output. So it knows that, so I entered 3 and 4, okay, so which is 7. So of course, if it's 3 plus 2, then the result will be 5, all right? So our Python program knows how to add the numbers, okay? So it's not that it doesn't know, it knows, right? It's just that we didn't give it the correct syntax, okay, or the correct rules for it. Okay, so you can try out with other mathematical operations such as minus, multiply, and divide, all right? So yeah, using these 4 operators, right, you can create a very simple calculator. All right, so let's improve our print function, okay? So we don't want to just print out a number, just number 7. So we want to print out something more meaningful, all right? So now, okay, so you know about this int function, so you can type int onto the chat box. And we look at how we can actually improve on this program. So there are actually many ways to write a program, even for this simple program, right, with just like 5 lines, right, including the comment line on the first line, right? So what we do is we use this f string, right, so that we can print a message, okay? So we say the result of the numbers 13 plus 8, okay? These are the numbers that I've entered from the keyboard, and then it prints out 21 as my final result, okay? So with this output, right, so you see it's much clearer, okay? It's not just, I don't just print 21, okay? So I print with a proper message, right? So then we know that this is actually the addition, right, of 13 and 8 here. So it's basically up to you, how you want your output to be, right? So as a programmer, we control how our output looks like as well, okay? So we have now covered the 4 basic programming concepts. So we know how to do calculations with our data, right? We know how to actually read, right? How to print out the message, right? And then the different types. So our focus was on the actually integer data type. So now we are ready for our Python challenge, okay, to create the program or the app, the application that we want. So remember, this is what we want the program to do, okay? So we want to ask the user, right, to enter a current age, right? And then the program will display the number of days, weeks, and months left if we were to live until 90 years old. So this is the Python challenge. And I've shown you this sample output as well earlier on, right? So as you can see, that means we'll be using the input function, right, to read from the keyboard, and we'll be using the print function to actually display the results. So of course, before displaying the results, right, we have to calculate, okay, do some calculations. So I'm going to take you through 4 simple steps, right, to write the code. So first, we're going to read the age. We're going to calculate the remaining years using 90, right, as the value. And then after that, calculate days, weeks, and months. And finally, we want to display the results or print the results. So this is also how I teach in my online course. So given a problem, right, I will break it down into smaller steps, okay, for you to solve. So this will actually reduce the complexity of the problem, all right? So we are going to go through this step by step. So the first step, right, is to read an age. So immediately you know that, okay, I should actually use the input function to do it. And I should give a meaningful name to my variable, all right? So let's look at that. So the name of the variable is called age. Okay, remember to use a meaningful name so that you know what is actually being stored there. Okay, if you use something like XYZ, then there's no meaning. All right, then your program becomes like very difficult to understand or difficult to read. All right, so here the prompt is what is your current age? So that is displayed on the screen when I run it. So I always try to run my program first, right, before I go to the next step. Okay, so that if let's say I have errors, I can fix them earlier. Right? Otherwise, you may get a lot of errors, right? Then it's very difficult for you to actually correct them. Okay, so normally after writing a few lines of code, I will run it, test out to make sure that it can run, and then I have the correct output. Okay, so in this case, when I run it, it actually prompts me to enter the age. In this case, I entered 21. So the next thing is I want to calculate the remaining years. So assuming that, let's say I live until 90, okay? So how do I do that? So that means I use the age that I've entered, okay? And then, so using the value 90, I minus this current age. So that will give me my remaining years, all right? So you see, remember that when I entered something from the keyboard using the input function, it will read it as like a character format, not integer, okay? So remember just now we have to use the int function to convert it to an integer format so that Python knows that, okay, this is an integer, then you can perform calculations with it. So now I test it out again, okay? So I make sure that, I get the correct data. Okay, so now sometimes you may do a reverse, you may do like int age minus 90, then instead of getting a positive 69, you actually get a negative 69. Okay, so that means there's something wrong with your calculations there. All right, so using the print function, all right, I print out the years and it shows me 69. So that means, yeah, my program is actually correct. Okay, so I'm using the correct subtraction here. So we have read the age, okay, calculated the remaining years. So next is to calculate in months, weeks, and days. So this is the third step. All right, so the hint here, right? Okay, we want to really make it, simple for now. So we are going to use these numbers to calculate the days, weeks, and months. So yes, I know that they are leap years, right, where we have 366 days, but we won't consider it in this program. If we were to do that, I think you probably have to stay with me until midnight. Okay, so we are just going to use 365 days, 52 weeks, and also 12 months. So let's add the code to calculate the number of days left. So to do that, that means we use the years, the remaining years, multiplied by 365. Okay, so this asterisk symbol is how you do multiplication. Okay, so when I print the days, right, so I get the correct result. I mean, if you don't believe the program, then you can try to use the calculator, right, to actually calculate this. So yeah, 21 multiplied by 365. So this gives us 25,185. Okay, so now yeah, we are going to add the remaining statements. Okay, so we've calculated days, so we want to calculate weeks and also the months. So this is the statement that we have, the code, right? So for weeks, right, we multiply the years by 52, okay? And then for years, right, we multiply it by, so for months, right, we multiply it by 12, okay? So 12 months in a year. All right, so now that we got the calculations, so of course the next step, right, is to actually print the result. Okay, so this is actually the final step, right, for this program here. Okay, using the f string, okay, the print function and the f string. So I print out a message. You have how many days, right, which is the variable days, and then followed by the word days, the variable weeks, okay, which is enclosed in the curly braces, the word weeks, and months, how many months, right, again in curly braces, months left. So this is the output, right, when I enter the age as 21. Okay, so this actually completes our simple program, right? So in total, actually, yeah, if you want to include the comment just now, there are actually 7 lines of code here. So we have gone through these 4 steps, right, to create this simple program, right? So to read, to do calculations, and then to display the result. So to summarize, right, okay, so we have applied these 4 basic concepts. So we can use the input function to read from the keyboard. Okay, oops. Do the calculations, okay, and then finally output the result using the print function and also the f strings. All right. So now what we want to look at is how can we actually learn programming, right? So I've shown you like the steps, okay, and then what else can you actually do? So the approach, right, that I use in teaching and learning, right, is the STEPS system that I have. So of course, first you need to understand the syntax. So as I've shown you just now, the syntax for the input function, for the print function, okay, how you use it. So you need to know the theory behind it, the meaning, right? So that you know how to actually use or apply the rules, right, or the syntax of that programming language. And it's very important to actually do the exercises. Okay, so let me ask you a question. Can you actually lose weight by watching people exercise? You can't, right? So you cannot just, yeah, I mean, if you want to lose weight, then of course you have to do the exercises yourself, right? You cannot just watch the video of people doing the exercises. Okay, so that's why we can't truly learn programming by just watching people write the code. So we have to actually practice, right? Try out the projects as well, okay? Or even share your knowledge with others, okay? So then you can actually master that skill, all right? So in my online course, right, I will show the students, okay, how to break the problem into smaller tasks, okay? So that will help them to see the problems in a more easier or simpler way. So now let's go back to this article by Tim Urban on your life in weeks. So in his article, right, he actually asked this question: are you making the most of your weeks? So he mentioned that if you multiply the volume of a 0.05 carat diamond by the number of weeks in 90 years, which is 4,680 weeks, okay, it actually adds up to under a tablespoon. So looking at this spoon of diamonds, right, again, there's one clear question here. Okay, are you making the most of your weeks? So Tim Urban, right, added that in thinking about his own weeks and how he tends to use them, he decided there are actually two good ways. Okay, two good ways to actually use this diamond. And then, yeah, for me, I can actually relate to both of these ways. So either I enjoy the diamond, right, or I build something to make future diamonds, okay, or the diamonds of others more enjoyable, okay, or the diamonds of others are more enjoyable. So I don't want to just be in my comfort zone, right, and just keep this knowledge to myself. So because I want to share this knowledge, right, and also inspire others through it. So that's why I choose to make future diamonds, okay, and yeah, diamonds for others to enjoy. So that's why I created my online courses here. So this is something really precious to me because it is my first online course, and there are altogether 10 lessons in this course. So yes, you will learn about the input, output, more than that. Okay, there are more that you can learn from it. Okay, different types and different operations. Okay, so not just operations that deals with integers, but also how you operate on the strings, on the name, for example. And you will learn how your program can make decisions, okay, and how your program can repeat the self-instruction using like loops here. And your program is able to also store data, right? You will learn how to use lists and dictionary, okay, how you generate random numbers. And another important concept in programming is a function, okay, how you create your own function. So you have seen the print and input functions. These are actually Python functions. It's already built in. But you can write your own functions, okay, to perform different things. And to make the course interesting, right, that's why I included graphical user interface, animation, and game. So let me show you some of the programs that you will actually create. Okay, starting with this password generator app. So in this program, right, you will ask the user to enter how many letters they want in your password, okay, how many numbers they like, and then you will randomly generate a password. So you will learn how to store it into a list. A list is like a container, okay, how you store it into a list container, and then how you use a random generator to generate a random password from there. And another program that you will learn is a text-based adventure game. So in this program, you will learn about decision making, how your program can make decision. So this one is actually a program to find someone that is lost. Okay, this guy called Steve is actually lost in the forest. So based on your decisions, right, either you find Steve or you don't find Steve. Okay, so of course, you know, you can be really creative. I know that kids, like, they can actually add in more decision making to make the game even more complex in a sense, right? And then so I'll also teach you how to use what you call word art. Okay, so or SK art. Okay, so then your program can display something like an images, which is actually just text. Okay, these are actually just text. So this is known as the SK art. Okay, another program that is normally learned by beginners, right, is this rock, paper, scissors game. So in this game, of course, you will play with the computer. You will learn about a random number generator, okay? And as I mentioned, I want to make the lessons interesting as well by having a game development. So you will learn about the animation, how you do animation. You will learn about the graphical user interface as well. So in the second course, right, you will learn how to create the popular snake game, okay, and a different programming style called the object-oriented programming. Okay, so you will also learn how to work with files, right? So that is in lesson 7, how you actually read from the file and also how you write to the file, okay? And another project is on a vending machine. So it's basically the software that we have in the vending machine. So of course, we're not going to build that actual vending machine, but just the software to control it. So I started this online course end of last year. I launched it end of last year, and I'm really thankful for the various testimonials that I've received. So the youngest student so far is actually he's 11 years old. Okay, so he actually and then another one is 12 years old. So the 12-year-old has actually completed the beginning course, okay, the beginner's course, right? And he's now actually doing the intermediate level. So I'm really thankful for these testimonials because most of them, they have really zero programming knowledge, all right? And then they could follow the lessons and then do the exercises and also the projects. So this year, I actually spoke at 2 international conferences to introduce programming to parents for their kids. So I was also invited by the Singapore Chambers of Commerce and Industry to speak on the future of jobs, right? And I wrote 3 articles for these talks, and they were published on a local newspaper. So now, in fact, I'm actually writing another article on data analytics. So in the past, I've also written articles on job profile or career profile. So these are mainly for magazines. And in my previous job as the dean of the faculty, so I've also contributed various articles on the information technology or computing courses. And today, if you want to have high employability, right, the emphasis is on learning digital skills, okay, on data analysis, on computer science, and also on information technology. So now let me ask you this question. What do you think is an important digital skill in this 21st century? All right. So what do you think is an important digital skill in this 21st century? So again, you can type your answer on the chat box. All right. So my answer is actually programming or coding. So again, let me share with you why Python. So I've been teaching programming for the past 26 years, different programming languages. And really, Python is the easiest programming language to learn. Even though it's simple, but yes, it's versatile, right? And there's a huge demand for it. So this is a recent chart this year only. And if you look at the job postings requesting, right? Yeah, no doubt Java has the highest, okay? As compared to, Python is like in the 4th place, okay? But I think it's really, it's growing. But if you look at the projected growth, right? You see, Python's at 24%, okay? Projected growth in the next 2 years, okay? So whereas the rest, right, is like negative and with a low projected growth. And in terms of the salaries, okay, so this is the salaries of the most popular programming languages, all right? So Java and Python is pretty close. But if you compare the projected 10-year growth, right, you see a huge difference there, okay? So Python is at 21%, whereas most of it is like, at the negative growth. So really, there's a huge demand there. Okay, so this is the courses that I offer. So these Python courses, right, will actually help you to kickstart your programming journey from basic to intermediate. So I have altogether actually 92 videos, right, and there are 17 lessons there, excluding a bonus lesson on artificial intelligence. So there are 65 challenges or exercises, 13 projects, and more than 200 Python code. And in this bundle cost, right, as I mentioned, there are 92 videos there. So I'm offering it at 72 USD for for tonight, right? Of course, there's more. There'll be more bonuses. So if you were to divide the total number of videos by by 72, it's like 1 USD plus, okay, for one video. So let me share with you the link on the chat box for this discount code. All right, so yeah, we cut the link. Okay, so here's the link. All right. So why am I actually offering this at 72? Okay, this is a photo of my parents and me during my graduation. So I'm really thankful for their support and their love. So my father is 81 years old this year. My mom is 72 this year. So I really want to honor my my mom, right? So yeah, because she's 72 this year, so that's why I'm offering this bundle cost at 72 USD. So yeah, as I say, I really want to honor my mom because she's the one who inspired me to pursue a degree in computer science. So she's actually the first programmer in the family. So I remember seeing her notes on programming, right? And I was really impressed by them. And when I actually had doubt about returning back to Australia for my master's program, I had doubt in pursuing it. Then she reminded me that it was actually my choice, So it was my choice to do the master's degree, to pursue it. And then I must be responsible for my choice. So, our choice does matter, okay? Right, so I want to quote from Tony Robbins here. He said that knowledge is not power. Okay, knowledge is only potential power, but action is power. So what I've shared with you earlier on, right, is just, about programming, okay, about the concepts that we learn, right, is just knowledge, okay? So you can choose to take action from there. So for tonight, this evening, I'm actually giving this I would say this is a ridiculous offer. Okay, so I call it fast action bonus. So if you enroll within the next 15 minutes, okay, I'm going to give you the compilation of all the Python code, right? So that means there are more than 200 Python code there. Okay, so I'm going to I want to start the timer. So let me switch to this. So I want to start the timer of 15 minutes, right? So this is the fast action bonus. Okay, I'll go back to my slides. So if you were to make the enrollment, the registration within the next 15 minutes, so this is what you will get, okay? So you get all the code for both basic and also the intermediate level. So there are altogether 10 lessons in the basic and intermediate code for basic. So I've arranged it in terms of folders so that it's easier for you to refer to it. So by having this code, right, you can easily test them out. That means you can actually load this code into Trinket, and then after that, you can run and then see the result from there. So in the intermediate level, they're altogether 7 lessons. So again, I've arranged them into the lesson. So each folder, we have the code for that lesson as reference. So because in the in the online course, right, so the source code are actually not there for you to download. So this is really a special offer for this webinar. So the reason why, I see that it's ridiculous, right? Because this is the first time I'm doing it. Because for my previous webinar, I did not give this offer at all. Okay, so that means they don't have the access to the source code or the Python code. So I want to share something, that I've learned from my mentor. So he said that, you can build your knowledge and turn into asset. So by learning a new skill, right? So to most of you, Python is maybe a new skill to you, okay? Or programming itself is totally new to you. So by learning this new skill, right, you're building your knowledge, okay? So you can turn this knowledge, right, into assets, right? So how do you do that? That means you can use this knowledge, right, to teach others, and then you can also earn and be blessed from that. So actually, I'm more than happy, right, for you to use this course to actually teach others and share your knowledge with others. And I believe that through that also you will even learn more. So let me share with you one last story. So as when I was completing my PhD, I got pregnant, and my son was in the womb as I was teaching programming, as I was writing my thesis, burning the midnight oil. So he probably learned programming even while he was still, even before he was born. Okay, so in this article that I wrote, I started, I shared about my PhD journey, right? And also how my son actually kept me going, right, during the learning process. So my son is, he inspired me to teach programming to kids. So he started learning Python programming when he was 9 years old. So I believe that through programming, he actually developed problem-solving skills. He developed logical thinking skills, and also creativity. Okay, so because of him, I realized that actually everyone can learn how to code. So it's not too late to learn. Okay, because learning is a lifelong process, right? So because of him, I have the opportunity to teach programming to the kids in his school. So it is inspiring to see that the kids, learn an important digital skill. So programming is not difficult to learn. So I believe that with the right mindset, with the right tools and techniques, right, everyone can learn how to code. Okay, so let me just check the timer. All right, so Z here have a question. Okay, so if you have a question on the lesson, yes, I do provide support. Okay, so you can actually email the questions to me, or you can also put the questions in the comment box in the online course. Okay, so but I'm always happy to actually respond to email, right, questions about the course. All right, are there any other questions? All right, so that's 10 more minutes. Okay, thank you, Z, for the question. Okay, so I'd like you to share on this again. So I asked this question earlier on, right? From the scale of 0 to 10, right? How familiar are you with programming? Okay, so I hope that your score is higher than the previous one. All right, so I'll just pause and then read your scores. Okay, 6. All right, so hopefully it has increased. Okay, thank you, Chris. Yeah, God bless you too. Wow, Tat Yuan 10. Alvin 9. So James says 6. Okay, what about the rest of you? So you have any questions on the course or the Python programming itself, or even about programming? Yeah, you can ask here. Or Daniel too, because I hope it's higher than the previous score. Wina 8, thank you for the response. TK 2. Okay, I think earlier on I did saw 0, so now at least I hope I don't see any more zeros. Okay, help me 6.5. Oh, cool. Okay. Right, so the stories that I've shared, right, so they are also on my Facebook page. So I'm going to share with you also how you can connect with me. So my email address, my Facebook page, my profile, so that's my email address. Okay, so you can always ask questions through that through email as well. Then this is my Facebook page. So you can connect and then read about my stories from the Facebook page. So this is my LinkedIn profile. So we can also connect through that. And that's so the next one here is actually my YouTube channel. So I do have some videos that are related to Scratch programming. Right, so those of you may have younger kids, okay? So instead of Python code, you may want to start with Scratch programming, okay, which is a visual-based or block-based kind of programming where they can actually drag and drop like Lego pieces, okay, to join all these pieces together to form a program. Okay, let me stop my sharing. Oh yes, Irina, the course is accessible anytime, right? Because it's all pre-recorded, so the access is actually for lifetime, right? So then you learn at your own pace, all right? Yeah, so with your enrollment, right, that I'll be able to actually see it from the system with your email address. Then I will send you the link to access the code. Okay, that means all the code for the basic and also the intermediate level. So the videos you can end, you can pause anytime, right? So because during the course itself, right, so there are challenges or exercises that you will try out, okay? So from the exercises, right, then I will get you to actually pause the video and then try it out, okay? Oh yes, I do have a free course in Udemy. Okay, so that is actually to develop a game, right, in 1 hour. So in that course, right, I also teach some of the basic concept, but it's only one application, which is the game, okay, which is a game. So it does cover a bit on the some of the concepts that we learned earlier on. Okay, so the one on Udemy, I will also, I mean, if let's say you can also drop me an email about this, okay, then I can actually share the link with you as well. So as I mentioned, during the course, right, I will get you to actually pause the video, try out before I review, before you actually look at the solution. So the solution for the exercises are also online for your reference, okay? But again, it's good to actually try it out first, test it out, run it, look at your output. It's okay when you encounter errors. Then you know how you can actually solve those errors. So I will also teach you what happens when you encounter errors in your program. Okay, then how you actually resolve them. All right. Okay. So you're welcome, Irina, Alvin, James. Okay. So again, thank you for your response earlier on, about how familiar are you with programming. So I'm glad that I don't see any more like zeros on the chat box. Okay. And thank you again for your participation this evening. Then in Malaysia, the situation, with the COVID-19 is not that favorable. So it's important that we continue to stay home and stay safe, right? Right, you're welcome, Chris. Angie, take care also. Yes, yeah. So everyone have to really take care. So I hope that you all have done your first vaccination at least. So I already got my second dose. That was I think about 1 week ago. Right. So I'm really thankful for that as well. So hopefully all will get vaccinated. Right. Thank you, Daniel, for your comments. Yeah. Yes, for Daniel also, yeah, because since you've already purchased the course, I will also send you the link, right, for you to access the code. Okay. Thank you, Vina. It's nice to see you here, Alvin. Glad that you can join. All right, so I have 2 more minutes with the timer. Okay. So yeah, are there any more questions? So in the so as I mentioned, yeah, you can always reach out to me through my email address. Okay. Yes, Irina, you can. All right. All right. So if let's say some of you you are signing up for your kids, right? I would suggest that you use their name when you do the registration. Like it could be your own email, okay? So that when they print out the certificate, right, you'll be under your children's name. So it's not your name, okay? Oh, okay. Yeah, you can also use Google Colab. There are actually many other editors. One of the editors that I actually use is called PyCharm. So again, yeah, I mean, for those who really, sometimes we're not that tech savvy. So then it's easier to just start with Trinket, where you don't have to do any installation. All right. Yeah, so I actually use an editor called PyCharm. Then I will have to also download the Python. Okay, but you don't have to do that. All right. So just start with a simple interface, a simple editor. Okay, and then later on, once you're comfortable, you're more, you find it, yeah, in the sense that you're more tech savvy after that, then you can actually download. Right? I mean, you can follow the videos to do the download, but you don't have to. Okay. Most of the editors are, yeah, I mean, they do perform similar functions. Okay, of course they will check the syntax of your code to make sure that it's correct. Then you're able to run and then view the results from there. Okay. All right. Are there any more questions? Oops, how come I got beeping sound? 'Kay, I'm not sure why I'm having this beeping sound here. Okay, I think it's a timer. Oh, sorry. Timer for the 15 minutes, which I forgot. Okay. All right. Okay, once again, yeah, thank you for joining me this evening, right, to learn about Python programming. So the link for the Trinket, so it's trinket.io. Okay, let me get it for you. Okay, let me type it here. Right, so this is the link to Trinket. So sometimes you may see other code actually on Trinket. What you can do is you can just select all of it, delete, then you type your own code onto it, right? And then after that, you can just run and then view your results from there. So if let's say you want to do animation or game, right? Okay, you don't use Python 3 in the Trinket. You actually use something different. It's called Pygame, Pygame. So you can also, find that out, right? So by using the Trinket Pie game, right, you can actually run the animation, right, or run the graphical user interface, okay? Whereas the Python 3, right, this one is without the you don't actually normally use that for your games or animation. So even I think Trinket, you can also run other programming languages like I think Java also, you can do that in Trinket. All right, so yeah, thank you again. So do have a good rest. So hope that it has been a fruitful evening for you all. So I'm just so happy that I have this opportunity to share, to share my knowledge, and keep learning, right? So if it's something new, sometimes the learning curve may be a bit higher, right? But slowly, with perseverance, you can actually complete it. Okay, so that's the link again for the discount code. You don't need, actually, you can just use Gmail. Like, let's say I create an account with Trinket, right? Then I don't think you need subscription. I don't remember you need that. But you don't need to actually log into Trinket also. That means you can just use it. What I do is I just download my program from Trinket and then save it onto my own computer or my own laptop. Okay, so I don't log in at all to Trinket. All right, bye, Tai Yuan. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, have a good rest. And then so we will connect through social media. Okay, so yeah, see you on Facebook, LinkedIn, all right, maybe on YouTube as well. Okay, Helmi, yes, all right, I'm happy to offer that. Okay, I know that you've also made the purchase as well. Drop me an email, okay, so then I will send you the link for it, okay? All right, Alvin, yeah, so happy trying and happy coding. Good night. So yes, have a good rest, everyone. Okay, so yeah, bye. Goodbye, good night, and then continue to stay safe and take care. Okay, thank you. Bye. Welcome, Helmi. Yeah, thanks for joining tonight. Okay, bye. Bye, James.